Yes, hello. If you're watching this show today, it means that you're celebrating Easter. So I'll say happy Easter to all those who are celebrating Easter. And also, the whole theme of what I'm talking about today is around resurrection in some ways. Because, I mean, Easter is about victory, and Easter is about resurrection. One area that I'm praying and hoping that we'll have victory over is the area of human trafficking. Because you see, Nigeria is one of the African countries with the highest percentage of human trafficking activities around the world, both cross-border and internal trafficking. Only recently, CNN did an expose on slave trade activities in Libya, and it was revealed that most of the victims were Nigerians. The accent gave them away. Well, we believe efforts are being made here in Nigeria to kick against human trafficking. And today, as well as next week, you will hear different things around this area. For now, I have the Director General of the agency in charge of human trafficking, NAPTIP, which is the National Agency for Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, Dame Julie Oka-Donley. She's our guest, and we'll dig right back in it when you return. Welcome back. It's my pleasure to welcome Dame Julie on set, Mayaburu.
Thank you very much.
It's nice to have you.
Nice to be here.
And, you know, people feel that your agency is not firm enough on all these perpetrators. That's why things like this happen. So maybe we should use this guy as an example as we welcome you to the show today.
Thank you very much. I don't agree that NAPTIP is not firm enough. And as a matter of fact, the video you sent to me was immediately forwarded to the head of investigations, and he's working on it now. The team is working on it as we speak, and I'm sure we're going to get to the bottom of it. We receive videos like this, all sorts of videos all the time, and then we've made arrests based on videos like this. I mean, there was a time one was posted on the Facebook of one lady, you know, who was busy, you know, trafficking young girls, and we arrested her, you know, prosecuted her, so many others like that. Maybe we haven't really been blowing our trumpets on the pages of the newspapers, so people don't realize that NAPTIP is doing a lot. From inception till date, we've convicted about 339, and we still have a lot of cases going on in courts, you know, as we speak. Talking about the CNN video.
Because I was just going to go there. If you've done 339 since 2004, that's quite small. This agency is at least 14 years old.
Yes,
right.
I mean, in the first year of operations, naturally, you don't prosecute that many. I think the first year had just one. Then as the year went on, we had more and more. And don't forget that, yes, we lose some cases. We win some cases. Unfortunately, it's a very specialized area, so many judges are still do not understand the offense of human trafficking, and so we've embarked on a lot of training for judges, you know, and lawyers. Even lawyers don't understand it. I mean, you can't give what you do not have. If you do not understand what human trafficking is about, the consequences, the punishments, and all of that, it will be very difficult to, you know, try the cases very well.
I went that way because I assume one of the areas is, first of all, you don't do enough publicity. I'm sure that's it's obvious reasons. You don't have money for publicity.
We do a lot of publicity. In
Not
fact,
enough.
that is our major strategy. Prevention is the first strategy of the agency. We do a lot of publicity, a lot of awareness campaigns going on in various communities, because it's from the communities that the boys and girls are trafficked, the rural communities, and so we concentrate there. We also go to schools. We go to churches, we engage the
So that's
media.
awareness.
Yes.
And not necessarily asking, you know, paying for advertising, all of those things.
Oh, we do a lot of that on TV, radio, newspapers. We do quite a bit of that.
Okay, I wonder, you know, remember recently, a CNN reporter, beyond the fact, you have been on CNN talk about this, right? A CNN reporter comes underground to reveal that this thing actually happens, because, you know, there's something they call the human trafficking kingpin, the head of the so-called Pusha Mine in Edo State. That's my state. And people are wondering, why do we have to wait for CNN to do that kind of thing before we take action?
Well, I think that question is ridiculous, you know, because the same thing the CNN reporter said is the same thing I've been saying all over the world, all over the country. I've been to TV stations, radio, newspapers. There's nowhere I haven't been to warn the youth of the consequences and the ills of human trafficking and the signs of human trafficking. I mean, maybe it takes only a foreign correspondent or a foreign media to report things like this before Nigerians listen, because what the CNN reporter said is not different from what I have been saying and what we will continue to say.
What I find interesting is the fact that such people fell to somebody that was obviously well-spoken, well-enlightened, because we've never seen anybody that enlightened come out as having gone through to Libya or wherever and come back. But these pusher men still fell for that kind of thing. Some people say it might have been planned.
No, I don't think it was planned. It just shows you the level of ignorance these so-called pusher men exhibit. I mean, most of them are ignorant. They are very greedy.
They're illiterate.
So, yeah, they are illiterate. They are greedy, they are ignorant, they're only interested in the money. They don't care about anything. They don't think, they just, as long as the money comes, what do I care? That's the problem.
So, but you see, people wonder, Edo State, does it still remain the core? And what have you done? Because I remember recently, somewhere early in the month, in March, the traditional ruler tried to do something.
Edo State, when you talk about human trafficking in Italy, Edo State is number 1. Delta is number 2. Still remains number 1. Delta comes closely as number 2. But when it comes to trafficking in other parts of the world and West Africa and in the Middle East, Edo State is not represented in any of those states most of the time. You get states, other states. Nigerians, I mean, let's say about 28 to 30 states, you find victims of human trafficking in all of these states.
So tell me, maybe in the police educate me, what does human trafficking entail really in the next 3 minutes?
Yeah, human trafficking is simply an act of recruitment, transporting, harboring of persons, of human beings, with the aim of exploiting them through threats, labor, force, coercion, deceit, abduction in some cases, with the sole aim of exploiting them. Exploitation in the sense of sexual exploitation, labor exploitation, organ harvesting, and so on.
Okay, that's interesting, because when you talk about human trafficking, people only think about those who have been trafficked for prostitution, and therefore there's a coloration about the fact that they deserve it because they are going out to seek, What do you think about that?
I'm glad you raised that. People are very ignorant, and that is why NAPTIP is going on a sensitization campaign. People are not, those who are exploited cannot be referred to as prostitutes. And the media is doing so much damage to these victims. They are victims of sexual exploitation. A prostitute works for herself and earns money for herself. But when you are sexually exploited, the money is going to someone else, and you do not have your time, you do not have access to the money, and you are being controlled. So they are sexually exploited, and they are not prostitutes. They are made to prostitute for the traffickers.
Okay, people say they deserve it.
No, they do not, because they are exploited, because they are tricked and deceived. And this is where the ignorance of these people that are saying they deserve it comes from, and we need to educate them on that.